Yes, guys. From the headlines hitting us today, it has just been confirmed that the CBN governor has increased the deadline for the exchange of the new Naira note, which deadline was actually stipulated for 31st of January 2023. And the news that is hitting the internet now, and as confirmed by the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, who spoke with regards to this extended date to February 10th, 2023. I believe say this new date now, when they don't extend, it's as a result of immense pressure from interest groups who felt that the 31st is not a good time enough. Even for me, let's not talk about the election here. Let's forget about the election that is by the side. I know that those people who live in the interiors, especially those very, very poor and those who live in disadvantaged areas, those who are in the interior villages, who doesn't have means to reach banks on time, or who doesn't have means to even access a bank. There are some communities in Nigeria where there are no banks at all. For these people to even say they're going to spend a lot to travel down to where they can find banks and actually exchange their old notes for the new ones. I can understand from this perspective, but the more pressure is actually coming from those people who have interest, like the politicians, with regards to the election that is on the corner in next month, February. And I believe so much that this extension is actually going to be positive and negative. It's going to have both impacts on the reason why the deadline was actually set. On the 10th of February is a time enough close to the election, so that's going to be exactly 15 days to the presidential election. That's when the deadline is going to happen. And I trust say anybody will want to do any mago and wuru by on the 10th, you don't suppose do it in you want to finish. Actually, but most businesses are not actually accepting the old notes again. I have a friend yesterday who called in from Benin. He went to the filling station as early as possible to actually get petrol. And a liter of petrol was selling already for 600 Naira per liter in Benin City as at yesterday, the 29th of January 2023. He showed me the live video where he have a queue of people who have put lots of gallons on the line just waiting so fuel can be dispensed to them. But the filling station attendant also assured him that he's not sure if they will be able to sell petrol on that day, which was yesterday. However, the fuel price was 600 as against the federal government real price. But he confirmed to me that petrol stations like NNPC were selling cheaper, but the queue, you may be there for 2, 3, 4 days before you can get your turn. And this has inversely and indirectly increased the price of transportation all throughout the whole of Nigeria, not only Benin City. And even while he was willing to pay for the petrol for 600 Naira, the problem was that the petrol attendant and the manager to the filling station told him very clearly that they don't accept the old notes, even though that was just 3 days to the last date of the exchange. So it's a big constraint. If you look at it from that angle, you find out that even the filling station and the people who are collecting the old notes does not have enough opportunity and time to be able to change the money into the new note. Reason be it that many of the banks are complaining that they don't have enough of this new note. So I'm wondering about this policy. Why do you make a change, a swift on time, and you don't have enough resources to cushion the changes which you have put in place? It means that most of the commercial banks don't have enough Naira to actually do the needful, and you have subjected them to actually start dispensing the new note. You have subjected the citizens of Nigeria to actually start spending the new note, which is not enough in circulation. So this is a big wahala for our country. It is good that they don't extend that to on the 10th. May we look whether this new extension go still work, even though say the new note na just kachara. What I mean by kachara be say they're not really designed and new. So the new note, I would say it come with new design when go make our currency, our Naira, look more beautiful. And they tell you say appearance matters a lot. If you get very nice currency design, if they see they add small rep to our shoulder as Nigerians, they just color them. Some people say na photoshopping. Some people say they just miscolor poor put. So Nigeria go always talk as usual. Sure, you understand? But in the real sense, the new currency not really make any difference. Secondly, The CBN governor say they get why they do am. Buhari, our president, say they also get why they do am. For me, who am I? I'm just a Nigerian. And I'm just looking at them as they do am, maybe they play, they go. So honestly, let's come back to the hardship which people are really facing. Nigerians are going through a lot, if we want to be very serious with the truth. They are going through a lot. People who are not financially stable, who are not rich, people who are even in the middle class, they are also going through a lot. With regards to this change up and down, election is there. People are still thinking about security. People are still battling how to change the president. People are thinking that, wow, 2023 is the last hope for the common man. If we are not get them right this time, let me say, it don't bawa, it don't finish for all of us for Nigeria. So the truth is that we have to get it right this time. Let's do it correctly once and for all. I urge all the youths, and I use this as an opportunity, make I tell una, make una go change the government. Make una put somebody when we say we go fit trust. All of us go make Nigeria better. So make una listen to what the CBN governor talk with regards to the reason why he decided to change the date to 10th of February 2023.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning. As you can see, I have just finished a meeting with Mr. President to update him on all the plans and actions that we have taken towards the implementation of the new Naira redesign program. But before I take questions, let me read this press statement. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Like you can see, I have just ended a meeting with Mr. President. The purpose of the meeting is to provide Mr. President with updates about the implementation status of the CBN currency redesign program currently going on across the Federation. First, I'd like to continue to thank Mr. President for giving the CBN the approval to embark on this ambitious program, because like I had said in the past, the Central Bank of Nigeria has not had the opportunity to embark on such currency redesign program in the last 19 years. And indeed, let me emphasize that only an incorruptible leader of the president's stature can give such approval to the CBN. Ladies and gentlemen, from the onset of this currency redesign program, we made it clear that for 19 years, the CBN hasn't been able to conduct this important aspect of its mandate, whereas this should normally have been done within a 5 to 8 year window. Our aim mainly is to make our monetary policy decisions more efficacious, and like you can see, we've started to see inflation trending downwards and the exchange rate is relatively stable. Secondly, we aim to support the efforts of our security agencies in combating banditry and ransom taking in Nigeria through this program, and we can see that the military are making a good progress in this important task in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, available data at the Central Bank of Nigeria has shown that in 2015, currency in circulation was only 1.4 trillion naira. As at October 2022, currency in circulation had risen to 3.23 trillion naira, out of which only 500 billion was within the banking industry and 2.7 trillion held permanently in people's homes. Ordinarily, when CBN releases currency into circulation, it is meant to be used, and after a friction of time, it returns to the CBN, thereby keeping the volume of currency in circulation under the firm control of the CBN. So far, and since the commencement of this program, we have collected about 1.9 trillion naira, leaving us with about 900 billion to 1 trillion naira, and 1 trillion naira to be collected. To achieve this effective distribution of the new currency, the CBN has taken the following steps. A, we held several meetings with our deposit money banks and provided them with guidance notes on processes they must adopt in the collection of old notes and distribution of the new notes to all Nigerians. These include specific directives to deposit money banks to load new notes into their ATMs nationwide to ensure an equitable and transparent mechanism for the distribution of the new notes to all Nigerians. B, we commenced a nationwide sensitization through the print and electronic media to create an awareness on the residing notes to Nigerians, including collaboration with the National Orientation Agency to reach all Nigerians across multiple channels. C, we deployed 30,000 super agents nationwide to assist in our cash swap initiative in the hinterlands, rural areas, and regions underserved by banks in the country to ensure that the weak and vulnerable ones amongst us can swap or exchange their old notes. D, we deployed all our staff, particularly those of the grades of assistant director, deputy directors, and directors in Abuja, to proceed to all CBN branches nationwide to join the mass mobilization campaign and monitoring program, working with the deposit money banks, agents, and our branch controllers across the 36 states of the Federation. This is meant to ensure compliance with all our guidelines already issued for smooth implementation of the program. Although we have received some reports of breaches by some bank branches, we have agreed with the executive chairman of the EFCC and ICPC to assist us by sending their staff to all CBN and bank branches nationwide to join in monitoring the implementation of these guidelines. The aim is to ensure compliance with the laid down guidelines. E, we are happy that so far the exercise achieved a success of over 75% of the 2.7 trillion naira held outside the banking system. Nigerians in the rural areas, our villages, the aged and the vulnerable have had the opportunity to swap their old notes, leveraging the Agent Naira Swap Initiative, as well as the CBN Senior Staff Nationwide Sensitization Exercise. F, aside from those holding illicit and stolen Naira in their homes for speculative purpose, we do aim to give all Nigerians that have Naira legitimately earned and trapped the opportunity to deposit their legitimately trapped monies at the CBN for exchange. Based on the foregoing, we have today sought and obtained Mr. President's approval for the following. 1. A 10-day extension of the deadline from January 31, 2023 to February 10, 2023 to allow for collection of more old notes legitimately held by Nigerians and achieve more success in cash swap in our rural areas, in our villages and communities, after which all old notes outside the CBN loses their legal tender status. Our CBN staff, currently on mass mobilization and monitoring, together with officials of the EFCC and ICPC, will work together to achieve these objectives in the coming days. 2. A 7-day grace period beginning on February 10 to February 17, 2023, in compliance with Section 20, Subsection 3 and Section 22 of the CBN Act, allowing Nigerians to deposit their old notes at the CBN after the February deadline, when the old currency would have lost its legal tender status. We therefore appeal to all Nigerians to work with the Central Bank of Nigeria to achieve a hitch-free process for the implementation of this very important program. Thank you.
What do you have to say to some people, particularly somebody who is saying that because it's swap ongoing, it's a security problem?
Well, truly speaking, I think the Kano State Governor is a respected elder statesman in the country, and I would not want to join issues with him. All I'm saying is that we want to remain focused on our assignment. Like I said earlier, Nigeria, we have 1.4 million super agent touch points all over the country. In our various local governments, in our villages, people who are selling sweet, people who are selling kola nuts, people who are selling even food in their kiosks, in their shops, they have points from where you can easily do cash in and cash out services. However, what we have done under this exercise, we have targeted 30,000 super agents out of these 1.5 million people in a various areas where we know that these areas are really truly unbanked or underbanked. And we say And we our own CBN staff, designated CBN staff, collect the cash, follow the agents, and they go to those villages and they are exchanging cash from, exchanging new notes for the old notes. And we gave a limit of 10,000. The reports that I have received is that, in fact, most people have less than 10,000. There are only very few that have more than 10,000, maybe 15 or 20,000. And we have told the directors to use their discretion to grant those very few. So I don't understand the relationship between our own cash swap, which is our own job with our mandate, and the security issue being espoused by the Kano State government. So that is why I'm saying I don't want to be joined in any argument with him. We just want to remain focused on our mandate and assignments.
Despite the public outcry over this last year, we've seen a video where some people are spraying the new Naira notes at public functions, meaning banks are compromising.
Yeah.
What do you have to do?
Like I said in the press statement, you will see that I admitted that some bank branches are breaching our guidelines. Only 2 days ago, myself, the chairman of EFCC, chairman of ICPC, and the CEO of Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, we held a meeting and we agreed that for the remaining days for this to end, that EFCC and ICPC officials will go with CBN people to make sure that, first of all, the new notes are being swapped the way the guidelines have been provided. For those who I'm saying this, even if there are CBN staff involved, they will be sanctioned. We will track them. Luckily, those non-Naira, they have trackers. We have their numbers because they have been issued. Once we see these numbers, we will track them and we will make public those that are involved in this business of selling new Naira notes, whereas there are people who are suffering in the villages that need those new Naira notes. We will deal with them. We have passed on a few videos to the EFCC and they are going to track these people. It's not about CBN tracking them. It's about EFCC or ICPC, independent enforcement agency institution, to go after them. We will conduct our own investigation. They will also conduct their investigation. So I'm seeing the opportunity to warn those bank officials, or indeed I want to say even CBN officials that may be involved in this process, that they will be dealt with and they will be caught if they persist.